Saad, McDonald, Tip and Woody. Good dance step, runs inside, has a couple of bounces, spears the pass, hooker!
Yes, that's what they do. Hooker forward, ran down. So much rides on this kick.
For the lead back, in he struts, struck it well, phenomenal. Hooker forward, Bombers back in front, 35 seconds left. Zaharakis ready to run around to the back. Ball knocked down, Stringer gets the clearance, and it might be the game winner. He barrels it, heads long, bouncing ball, a goal, and it's over. He is crazy good.
Here comes Lamar. He found the time. An opportunity for Zaharakis. He has the goal. Zaharakis is good. Hooks it back. Sensational.
Everyone in this room is now dumb for having them.
Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch-Up Podcast, episode number 77. The Lunchtime Catch-Up Podcast are two blokes who've known each other forever, who catch up most days in the Melbourne CBD, actually today, to talk everything Essendon Football Club. My name is Grant, and with me is Scott.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back on the podcast. We've won 5 in a row.
Lid is still off.
Yeah, I must admit, during the week I probably tweeted out that, in all honesty, I just wanted to win against Gold Coast. I think we were kind of due. We've been up for a while. I think we were due for a little bit of a flat performance.
Well, but when you say flat performance, we
just didn't click.
We've been flat. We've been flat every week. Like we've the first half.
Flat. Yeah.
No, but the first half we've been flat, and then the second half we come out and play really well and win the game. So there was nothing difference between that game to the last games.
No, it's just the opponent, I guess, was a lesser opponent. But I must admit, we never have played Metricon well. It's just always just been one of those grounds.
I don't know that any team plays Metricon well.
No, just doesn't.
It's a nothing sort of a ground, really.
But look, all I wanted was a W and get the hell out of there. That's the whole point of the game for me. So as much as some people, and I can see, didn't really like our performance and a bit of an overreaction. It was like, we don't deserve to play finals. Or whatever. Yeah, no, sorry. We've won 7 of the last 8. This side deserves to play finals. We're not going to play champagne football every week.
No, especially with the names we've got out. We are. It is I think everybody has to understand that it's a makeshift side.
Yeah, it's
the mere fact that Will Snelling is playing means that we're a couple of midfielders down.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking the VFL, say mid-year, or if you said what's the VFL around round 8, and take out Snelling, but say, okay, Dylan Clark was playing, Langford was probably playing, Gleeson was playing, Redmond was playing, you've got Francis was playing, Mitch Brown was playing around about there, and Ben McNeese definitely was playing, Zach Clark was playing, Laverde was playing.
In and out,
These guys all played that game. This is... We have some serious players out of this side of very high quality, and we've got a VFL program that's going very, very well under Dan Jordan, and let's just be honest, we've covered our guys really well. It hasn't been champagne footy, like I just said before, but if you want determination, grit, and fight when it comes to the crunch of the last sort of 10 minutes of a game, we're the team that constantly stands up.
And this is one of the things that everybody needs to, I think, take into account when they're saying, it's no good, we're going to get hammered in the finals. I think everybody needs to understand, excuse me for that sniff, everybody. That was pretty unprofessional. No, we'll fix that in post. We'll fix that in post. We have to understand that we've got a team that actually is missing a hell of a lot of stars who wouldn't be within their rights, but it would be pretty sort of standard sort of procedure to have us lose heaps of games and then be able to come out in the papers and say, "Oh, we're missing too many players. We're losing games because we're missing Hurley and we're missing Danaher and we're missing Smith and all these guys." Right?
McKenna was out. Happel's injured.
All of these things. Right?
Hurley.
So you could almost look at them, and the standard modus operandi would be, yeah, we've got too many players out. We're losing games of footy because we need those players. When we get those players back, we'll be okay. But the thing I love about this club at the moment is clearly all of those players you just mentioned, Zach Clark, Brown and Dylan Clark and all these guys are performing. They're not letting the big names go, oh, well, if we win, we'll try hard, but if we win, great. If we don't, it's because we don't have players in. We've got guys that are actually playing out of their skin, like Dylan Clark for that matter, and Zach Clark's performing well, and Benny McNeese is playing a role, and Mitch Brown's a gun, and we're actually winning games of football. So yeah. I think it's the club and the players especially are to be commended in a big way for not just laying down and going, oh, we can't win games of footy without those big names. The guys that were playing in the twos that were maybe going to get a game are getting a regular game and they're grabbing it with both hands.
Exactly. They're asked to play a role, especially guys like Dylan Clark and that, and they're playing it really well. And hey, no, not many other teams have won 7 of the last 8.
Nobody, dude. I don't know that anybody's won 7 of their last 8.
I think Brisbane would be the closest as far as informed teams, and Richmond, I think, are coming on a little bit strong. But there's not many teams who are probably the second best team in the last 8 weeks.
Yep.
At least in the top 2. And it's a very hard competition to be that kind of success.
Yep.
And considering what we've had to go through, and we've probably played 3 interstate trips out of that 8.
Yeah.
And some very tough teams. It's not like we haven't played, top 8 teams. Of course
in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've beaten the GWS. We've beaten the Hawks.
Adelaide and Adelaide. GC up there where no one likes to play.
Good teams. Look, I'm actually wrapped with how the club's going, and I put out a little bit of a semi-article today. So check it out if it's on Facebook or my Twitter. And I was just discussing a little bit about that. It's sort of acknowledging that, when it's all said and done, no, we're not playing, to the ultimate level of a formed team that's in sync.
I reckon the club would acknowledge that.
And look, they are. I mean, the players were brutally honest, just saying, oh, we're playing patchy football, and there's obviously reasons around that, because we're just constantly having guys coming in and out of the side, and all in through the midfield, forward and back. So it's going to affect your performance. I mean, obviously we've had some rotations with McKenna and Hurley and these guys coming out the back. What did we say? We said that's the most stable group. They're keeping sides to 75 points. So what happens when that happens? When you got McKenna, Hooker a bit injured. You have Hurley come out of the side. Gold Coast score 96 points. It does affect your...
Connor's not there, and they score 90-odd points in a club that's been struggling to score.
It's just something to say about how I guess a group of guys gel and are in sync. And Hurley mentioned it 3 weeks ago that before he got injured, that how well in sync the back 6 were, and that's contributing to completely shutting out oppositions. Now, when that gets fully disrupted, that's what you get, and that's what we've got in the forward line. Most of the year, we've just never been able to get a settled 6.
No.
In that forward line, we've just, we haven't got able to get Stewart on the park, Danaher on the park, Fantasia on the park, Begley's been in and out, Laverde's been in and out, and it's just been a very unsettled forward line, with Mitch Brown only just starting to come into form now. And
we've had to actually rely in that forward line on Jake Stringer's brilliance and Mitch Brown having to kick us 3 a game, and Smack, who continues to improve as a footballer, absolutely, but I don't know that Smack's ever going to be a 70-80 goal forward for you. So it's a bit makeshift at the moment. You've got Jimmy Stewart, who I reckon maybe he still is, I don't know, but he was the first pick centre-half forward or full forward. And we got Joey D, who everybody knows could be anything. We've got those 2 blokes taken the number 1 and number 2 defender. Then you chuck Stringer down there. Then you chuck Waller down there and Fantasia. And that forward line looks scary good. Could you imagine getting as many games together in the forward line as we've got from Hurley, Hooker, Sard, McKenna and Co in the back line? That's when we would start to look seriously dangerous. But again, to the club and to the players' credit, they have not laid down. They have not thrown up excuses that, we need these good players back. Jakey has done freakish stuff. Cale Hooker has been the pinch-hitting swingman that we know he can. Waller has been kicking goals and generally being a legend. Sean McKernan's putting his hand up, taking grabs left and right. And the mids are kicking some through the midfield and getting the ball in the forward line. So, look, after the break, I think we'll come back, break it down a little bit more. Yeah,
I said this on Twitter. I said, look, for the first time, we're probably going to have a bit of a segment on Jake Stringer because I think it's pretty. We've always just glossed over him like, gee, Stringer was awesome and gone to the next guy. But I reckon we're going to spend a couple of minutes just talking about Jake and his evolution as a footballer and person since coming from the Bulldogs. So we'll do that after the break.
Sure. Welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast. Now then, before we get on to Jakey Stringer, we've got something big to announce on the podcast tonight. Something that's going to be big for the show and big for all the listeners, actually. Scotty, what am I talking about?
You are talking about the first official sponsor of the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast.
The first official sponsor of the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast. Who is it, Scotty?
Yeah, we've been talking for a number of weeks now, and the Mantra Hotel at Tullamarine, which is, if you're a Madison fan, it's the hotel that's right next to the hangar, almost joined against the hangar.
Absolutely.
They will be the official sponsor of the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast for the next 12 months.
For the next 12 months. Don't you love that? The Mantra Hotel in Tullamarine. They're at number 2 Trade Park Drive, Tullamarine. It is quite literally directly next to the hangar. So those guys, Jason McGowan and the team down there at the Mantra in Tullamarine have been very generous to offer the listeners of the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast some really good discounts on accommodation and meals at the Mantra Tullamarine. So what we've got for the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast listeners, the Mantra Tullamarine are offering. Now, we don't know how we're quite going to give this away just yet. We've got to have a bit of a think about it. But we wanted to announce it, especially the promo code that we're going to give you, because the promo code you can start using right now. But we're going to give the rest of these little bits away. We don't quite know how we're going to do that yet. So the Mantra have offered us 1 night's accommodation in a deluxe studio, no less, if you don't mind. A deluxe studio room, normal value $230 for nada. Nothing. We're going to be giving that away. And also 2 $100 dinner and drinks vouchers to the world-famous Woodlands restaurant at the Mantra Tullamarine.
What's the Woodlands famous for?
Mate, remember that burger we had?
It's famous for the Woodlands burger.
It's famous for the Woodlands burger. I tell you what, if you're there, have a chat to ask for Jason, get him to make you up a special Woodlands burger. He probably won't make it himself. There are chefs there, but it's a very, very tasty burger. I can honestly tell you that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. They've offered these prizes just off basically the goodness of their hearts.
Absolutely.
And we'll work out some sort of competition or some sort of event where we'll do these prizes away. But it's pretty exciting. And look, I guess the final thing that we wanted to announce is that any listener can book at the Mantra Tullamarine, and using
got a promo code.
Yeah, using the promo code Lunchtime Catch-Up, one word.
Yeah, one word. There's no the. It's just Lunchtime Catch-Up. Enter the lunch... Oh, see, I just said it. Enter Lunch Catch-Up.
Lunchtime Catch-Up. We're so bad.
We're going to fix this. Can you tell it's our first sponsor? We'll fix this in post. It's okay. Enter Lunchtime Catch-Up when you book your accommodation at the Mantra Tullamarine, and you will receive 10% discount, I believe it is, Scotty.
That's correct.
10% discount. So, again, a massive thank you to Jason McGowan. He's the GM down there at the Mantra Tullamarine. We want to thank him in a big way for helping us out of the podcast and also offering some great deals to you guys.
Exactly. Look, it's actually a good opportunity if you're going to things like the family day, you're coming down for a final or anything like that, or want to see the boys train at the hangar. It's a good promo code to use. You can get a cheap night at a really, really great place. I do know the Mantra quite well.
Yep.
If anyone who knows my job knows, I know hotels very well.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity and for fans to be able to access the Mantra right next to the hangar and just basically walk 60 seconds to your left and you're at the hangar.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're lucky enough to win the $200 dinner vouchers, you can go see the boys play and then make a day of it. Head right next to the hangar, head over to the Mantra and have a lovely dinner there as well.
So look, we'll put that we'll put some information more on Twitter and Facebook.
Yep.
So people understand. We're not going to oversell, so we'll move on with the show a little bit. But it is an exciting development, and it obviously helps out the show
in a big way.
In a big way.
Yeah.
So we're just having little teaser talks about a possible event at the hotel, and
that'd be interesting.
We would actually love to. We have no idea if people would be actually interested in that. So just on our Twitter page or our Facebook page or our Patreons or whatever, if you would be ever interested in doing like an end of year event or even like an event in between, like say if we made the finals and you got the weeks break in between the finals, would you be interested in having like almost like a live podcast function if we got like a room available at the Mantra?
Absolutely.
An actual function room, not just a deluxe bedroom.
No. We won't be taking you to the deluxe room. No, we'll get a function room. We'll have a chat to Jason. We'll twist his arm for some cheap drinks and some nibbles and stuff.
Yeah, have a screen on, play some Essendon clips. That
might be fun.
We have no idea. So we don't know if 2 people turn up or 100 people turn up. But let us know if that's something you'd be interested in and we can see what we can possibly do.
Absolutely. All right, so Jakey Stringer.
Now, I promised on Twitter that I would talk about Jakey, and I really wanted to talk about Jakey. I feel like for most of the year we've just taken it for granted that he does these little freak kind of goals and gets us out of trouble.
We said it in the break just while we were chatting. What you get from Jakey Stringer, whenever we look through the player list, we've got it up on the screen at the moment, we're going through that player list, you get to Jakey Stringer and you go, geez, Jakey played well. And that's all you get. That's all we give Jake Stringer. I think the man deserves his due because when he came over from the Western Bulldogs, he was a problem child. And Essendon knew it and the Western Bulldogs knew it because that's why they were letting an All-Australian, one of the best X-Factor, kind of looks like Dusty Martin kind of footballer, go from their club.
For 2 second-round picks.
Which is nuts. And Essendon took a big gamble on that kid, and he's retained his talent, of course, but the person that he's become now, I think, would be making the Western Bulldogs very, very jealous.
Yeah, look, I think the Western Bulldogs would be pretty okay with this situation. Look, they've obviously missed now a guy of genuine talent, but I think most of the football community is pretty mature and going, well, there's been guys that, that have left us that, have become better people. I think like guys, not that they weren't bad people with us, but a guy like Melksham, his career's taken a bit more off.
Yeah.
And I think most of the football community is like fine with that. Like they're a pretty mature community. But Jakey is a fantastic football story because he's become quite a strong family guy. He was discussing obviously on the Essendon video about him going weekly now to the cancer hospital and for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's not just a promotion for the club kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Because no one would know that. We've never seen video of that. Yeah. We've only seen once, so it's done without sort of the video. And that's that speaks to me about a person that's grown up a lot. He's got past that key age of 20, 21, which can be a bit of a tricky year.
Well, not can, it was for Jakey, right? Like he was getting out of line for a while there, and the Western Bulldogs, geez, they should have stuck with him, I reckon. But I agree with what you're saying. The guy he's grown up to be now, like his goal celebrations and the lair in him isn't as much as it once was. And that's just purely from maturing. And I would also like to think the influence of the Essendon Footy Club as well.
Yeah.
Just to turn this guy into the kind of footballer that he should have been at the Western Bulldogs, or was going to be at the Western Bulldogs. I'm just so glad that we've picked up. I mean, Jake Stringer's a top 5 draft pick. Like, if you got a top 5 draft pick that turned out to be as good as Jake Stringer, you would be very, very happy.
You would have to think he's close to favourite for the Crichton. Like, you would.
I think so.
As far as impact on games, it's just so big. Like, just that, at halftime we were obviously struggling. We'd only kicked 29 points, and so Woosha, credit to him too. He says, I'm going to play you on the ball for quite a bit of the game after now. When he is really on, does he not look like Dusty Martin?
Absolutely.
Like when he's playing midfield. I was thinking at the end of that third quarter, I was actually thinking if his fitness goes up another level, and Woosha said this the other week too, and said, look, he really only had his serious first preseason, pretty much the one that just...
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, the one that just came past. If he does that again and gets serious and goes to that next 10-15% of gut run ability, boy, the sky's the limit. Because
how old is he?
He would be a tease. He honestly would be a tease for any coach to have a close to as a full-time midfielder.
Yeah.
Because he does look... Cripps and Martin like.
His explosive... I mean, that last goal that he kicked that sealed it for us, he gets the ball and just his hips and legs drive through the ground and he bursts tackles. And I don't think I've ever seen Jake Stringer, when he gets the ball, say, in the forward line, his first instinct isn't to get rid of the ball and handball it real quick.
Get rid of it to go tackle him.
Yeah, his first instincts are trying to break that tackle. Like, he knows that he wiggles his hips and he pumps his legs into the ground, and he will invariably break those tackles.
Gary Ablett Sr. was very much like that.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
Kind of like, I've got enough power in my hips.
To be able to get out of this tackle. So I think Jakey Stringer, and I don't think he goes under anybody's radar because he's the package. But I just...
And he played crook.
Yeah, and he was crook and all.
He actually was sick and almost pulled out before the game. It's insane.
But yeah, I think for the Triple S that we got, again, mate, I will be the first person to dig the soil to build Adrian Dodoro a statue out the front of... You can make it probably out the front of the Mantra at Tullamarine. That's the Mantra at Tullamarine. Go down and have a chat to Jason down there. No, just kidding. They need a statue to Adrian Dodoro.
We were talking today, like we funny enough, had a lunchtime catch-up.
And, yeah, we did today.
And we were talking today and just discussing those 4 guys coming into the club. It is insane how we've picked 4 guys, Sard, Smith, Stringer and Shield,
who've performed brilliantly.
Smith wins the Crichton. Sard has every right to think he could be up there in the
Crichton. Absolutely.
He's been unbelievable this year.
And Connor should be getting a few Crichtons as well.
Stringer's been crazy. And even the last 2 weeks, Shield has really stepped up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, like 4 big trades. And everyone has been an utter success.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you think of Collingwood, right, who I reckon is the team in the last 6 to 8 years who have literally just tried to pinch footballers from other clubs to build themselves a football team more than any team in this AFL, right? Like, they went and got Jesse White, and they've got Levi Greenwood, and they've got Travis Varco, and they've got all these guys, Mundy, and they've seen somebody perform well at another club and just pinched them. Now, Mundy's been below average. Travis Varco's been serviceable. Daniel Wells can't get out on the park. Jesse Smith's not there anymore. Levi Greenwood was a waste of time. Essendon have gone out and done that for the first time in I don't know how long. We've gone and pinched 2 or 3 or 4
Yeah,
players.
because we weren't a club of destination. But
No.
we suddenly became one.
But all of the people we picked
I know.
have turned into top 10 players for the club, whereas Collingwood have got a couple of those players. They pinched Jeremy Howe.
And remember, we got Mitch Brown from Geelong.
Yeah. Well, but he wasn't even... Was he
I know,
at Geelong?
I know it was a 2016 and it was a bit of a
top-up thing.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's a massive success.
But all of them, though, I don't know that we've got a player into the club that hasn't worked. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the top of my head.
like a player that we've brought in, like Jesse White, or
Of a
something
fairly
like that.
high profile.
Yeah, of a fairly high profile. Like Jesse White comes in and plays 2 seasons of crap and then leaves Collingwood.
Yeah.
Essendon, we haven't done that. I don't think we've had a high profile player come to the club and not be brilliant. Triple S and everybody, it's been exceptionally good. So again, Adrian, if you're listening, mate, I think you're an utter genius. And Xavier, way to go, mate. Way to pull out that checkbook and secure these kind of blokes, because it's people like Jake Stringer who, how old is he? How's Jake?
Well, out of all those 4 guys, I don't think there's anyone over 26.
Okay.
So that's the key part. It's not just 4 guys of genuine talent. It's 4 guys who play another 5 to 6 year block.
Yeah, absolutely. in that window that we might have.
Yeah.
So, mate, I can't wait for Devon Smith to come back. But Jakey Stringer, mate, from Scotty and I at the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast, thank you very much for being just a absolute cream.
Delight to watch.
4 litres of cream on the top of our club. I think I said that right at the beginning when Jakey was going to come to our club. That he was going to be 4 litres of cream, and he's done absolutely exactly that.
Yeah, I think it's the part now. It's just the mature part of his game. When we actually need someone to step up, and it's a good little thing before we go to the next break. One thing I'm really liking about the Essendon Football Club is when you look at Hooker, Waller, and Stringer. It's been a while since we've had actual match winners, like who actually go when the game's tight. There's some guys. I said gays. So there's some guys.
Well, not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah.
There's some guys who are composed, are in the moment, and win you the game. And that's very rare because it's when the crowd's all screaming that, you see the guys who fumble and just panic handball or panic attack, and then there's that Waller play from the wings.
Zach Merritt. There's Cale Hooker who needs to put himself.
Shield did a great handball. Waller gets the ball. He gets a beautiful sidestep. 2 bounces, just pinpoints the
lace out.
Hooker, not who can be very suspect. But every time he kicks for a goal at a critical point, he just does not miss. He turns into Tony Lockett.
That is true. Very true.
And it's insane. And Stringer as well loves the moment, wants the big stage. He wants to be applauded. But it's so refreshing to have that at Essendon. Guys who are match winners.
Who've got the extra half to an extra whole gear to take that step up. So what we'll do is we'll come back, we'll go for a bit of a break. We'll come back, we'll get into maybe a bit more stats, and we'll keep going on the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast. And welcome back to the Lunchtime Catch-Up podcast. Now then, we wanted to just have a quick look at the stats from the game. It was...
It's not something you would glow over this game. But...
No, it's got a touch of the super mega fuglies about it. But a couple of points I wanted to make was, and we've been saying this on the podcast since the start of this season, that sure, when Essendon wins, Dylan Shield, your A-graders, and Zach Merritt, they get their high 20s and into their 30s, right? But the thing that makes Essendon, I think, one of the statistics that the club would be looking for is for other players, like off that back line where we're so strong, to be getting higher possessions as well. So sitting at number 3 is Mason Redman on 24 possessions, right? So I think at 79, 80% accuracy. And I think that's important when a guy like Mason Redman can get 24, and then Dylan Clark can get 22. So, and then even Andy McGrath playing off a back line as well can get 19. I think it really alleviates some of that stress on the midfield without the likes of Heps in there and Devon Smith. When a kid like Dylan Clark playing game 8 or something like that?
Yeah,
10
like that,
or less than 10, can come in and get 22 possessions. Then you got Andy McGrath, who's doing well at 19, but Mason Redmond at 24. I don't think that should be underestimated because it makes for so much easier time for Zach Merritt and Dylan Shield when you've got Mason Redmond running through the middle of the ground and off half back, racking up possessions as well.
Yeah, look, I actually had Mason Redmond in my votes just. I thought he had a really big impact on the game, and with McKenna out, I thought he became one of the key kind of drivers out of the halfback that we needed. He kind of fulfilled that role, and McGrath kind of was helping a little bit too.
Yep.
But in Redmond, he's even got 3 inside 50, so he's drifted up quite high. And
that's what I say. I mean, he doesn't just get it from inside 50 and then run 20 metres and kick it from the half-back line. He gets it on the half-back line and can run 15, 20 metres and be kicking it on a wing.
Yeah, he played really well. Dylan Clark, I thought played quite well as well, and he's having a couple of strong weeks. I think he shut down Swallow quite a bit as well, so he's always playing a fairly good role. Look, I will again say that he probably for him to get to that next level needs to just work on his kicking a bit more, and that's just being honest.
Everybody knows
that's just
that,
being
yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I always think this is a funny thought, and NBA fans will know this, but I always see Dylan Clark like Ben Simmons. I always think like there's this obvious skill that you have in basketball, and you do everything so well at such an A grade.
Other than
the obvious skill.
Yeah.
One obviously Ben being a jump shot and Mason Redmond kicking a ball.
Yeah.
And,
Not Mason, Dylan.
Sorry, Dylan. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Clark. But he's got so much upside, so you can't help that. He's been in the side 8 weeks and we've won 7 of the last 8. So,
mate, does he? Okay, we get Devon Smith back, we get a fit Heps back next year, and whatever, right? Is Dylan Clark in our midfield rotation now? Like that's it. He's in the rotation now.
When I hear Woosha still talk about him, even in the last couple of weeks, I still get the feeling he's on the edge. If everyone, I'm talking Devon Smith and everyone, if everyone's available, I don't think he's a lock-in yet, because I still feel like they were asking Woosha last weekend on Dylan Clark, and just saying like, is he now your lockdown player
defender,
for good?
yeah.
And he said, no, there'll be instances where, we might not feel like he has a role, and we need more offensive midfielders all set up across the midfield, and we would have maybe a different mix. So it's not a guarantee that he could, we'll always find a role for him. Though I had that feeling that he was saying, for now, yes, we've got a lot of guys out, but if everyone possibly on the list is free, he would be, game by game.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's how I kind of read. And that's not my opinion. I'm just saying that's what I read between the lines, is what Woosha was saying. But
I think maybe
his
Darcy,
success is pretty compelling.
Oh, absolutely. I think Darcy Parish has fought for that extra midfield role to be part of that permanent rotation in there, and I think
he's a lock-in now.
Yeah, he's a lock-in.
Oh, they signed him for 2 years today. So,
yeah, baby.
So
well done, boys down there at Bomberland.
So yeah, that was a key signing,
because there were clubs sniffing around that guy.
So there would have been. Collingwood would have been really sniffing. He was a Collingwood boy as a kid.
Oh, okay.
So they would have been sniffing around.
Good. I like that we didn't let him get there. I like that.
But look, it was one of those games where you can't really go through the whole list. But I thought Sean McKernan was really big in this game. He was also in my votes.
Great hands, man.
He was also in my votes.
Yep.
And, his hands, like you said, were really strong. He's presenting really well. He's taken on the challenge of being the kind of the sole big toe forward,
grabbing pack marks. Yeah.
He does have to slightly fix up his free kicks when he's playing in the ruck, and that's just something he has to fix up. But really, really good game. Look, besides that, Mitch Brown's kicked his 3 goals. He just does his role.
Mitch Brown, yeah.
Really good to see him. He's kicked I think 10 goals in 3 games.
Yeah, it's great.
So he's on form. But look, it was one of those games that I'm not going to go on too much. Shill, I thought, was really good in the second half. I thought he tried really hard to get the guys going.
Yeah.
Look, but besides that, it was just... It was one of those games you go, okay, we kicked 29 points in the in the first half, but we've ended up with 106. So we've obviously got our offense going, because what's that, 77 points after halftime?
Wouldn't you love to have a camera in the rooms at halftime to find out what John Worsfold is saying to those players, or they're saying to each other in their little huddles about, we've got to come out after halftime and blitz this game, because it's what we've done for the last 6 weeks in a row.
Well, we're a side when we up our pressure, we start to cause turnovers, then we start to getting breaks, and then that helps us score easier. So
and we're very capable.
I think he would go, okay, guys, because our defense mechanisms were really bad the first half. I mean, how many times did Gold Coast have guys 30 metres in the clear on the wing when they wanted to switch sides? So we just weren't smart in covering the guys.
And people like Paddy Ambrose and Aaron Francis didn't get many possessions at all.
And they had these, actually the defenders had a few. Aaron and Paddy just was slightly off.
Yeah.
And Hooksy was slightly off. I mean, I'm sure Rutten will look at the 96 points. And I thought our defensive over the ground for the first half at least was not that great.
Yeah, it was slightly off.
It was slightly off. But, you know, you can't be up every week.
No, and this is the thing, is that we everybody's got to remember again, and we'll keep saying it, that Essendon, with the stable backline of Hooker, Hurley, Sard, O'Connor, Gleeson and Redmond and Francis and those guys down there, a solid unit that doesn't change or didn't change very often, equals keeping sides to under 70 points, under 76 or whatever it is points for 6 weeks in a row. When you take Hurley out of there and you take O'Connor out of there, when you put Ryan O'Connor in the background, no. Ryan O'Connor. No, I did not mean... McKenna. I did not mean the Allied versus Victoria best on-ground medalist in Ryan O'Connor. I meant Connor McKenna. When you take him and you take Hurls out of the back line, and I reckon Hooksy is currently operating at about 70% fitness, then the back line's going to be affected. And it's going to be affected even against the likes of a GC. So 96, mate, it's still not 125. And the mids and the forwards, and God bless you, Jakey Stringer and Waller and Brownie and that, they stepped up like they had to.
No, and Woosha even had a comment today, and you could tell he was actually quite fine. I could tell in his body language, he just was very happy with getting away with the W and moving on. Like, he knew they were patchy, that they didn't play their best footy, but he said, but the guys showed heart again. When the game needed to be won, they showed up.
The heart is undeniable.
He basically said, we'll keep working on that. We're working on moving the ball better. But in all honesty, we came away with a win. That was our second interstate trip in a row. And that's not something Essendon Football Club
does particularly well, no.
So, yeah, we move on and we show up against Port. No, I mean, I'd love to challenge Essendon fans this week, because I reckon if we can really get a sold out
40
game,
grand, man, 40,000 at Marvel.
And just going really nuts. Like, just, they haven't played at home for so long. Just get as many people. It's a perfect time slot. Saturday, 1:45.
Mate, Scotty and I will be there.
Just get down and let's go nuts. Let's really get these guys another win. Because
the players are bloody well
very close to locking in a final.
The players are bloody well putting in for us. Like, that is clear.
Yeah.
They're putting in for us as supporters. We need to get our rear ends down to Marvel and show them that we appreciate it. And really make it uncomfortable for Port, because speaking of Port, what have we got to worry about next week against Port?
Look, Port is classically a fragile team, right? And they obviously lost, in the last kind of minute against GWS. They probably should have won that game. So that was a bit of a crushing defeat. I think you have to, if you can come out really strong in the first 15 minutes, you can break them pretty quickly.
They're eminently beatable.
Yes.
I think they're eminently beatable.
Yeah. If you want to keep them in the game, then they'll think they're a chance. And
but do you know the problem with what you just said is that
we're doing exactly.
We don't do
that well. We don't come out.
If you can come out early and put the pressure on them.
I said that against Sydney, and I said, because Sydney won't let us back in, but no, we came back.
Let us back in. Yeah, that's my point, right? Like, so I just worry that there's going to be one game.
One game's going to come to bite us.
It's where they don't let us back in, and our effort just doesn't equate to it. But hey, like I said, lid is off. It's official.
And look, from what I hear, Fantasia is
yes, you've got a couple of little whispers there, don't you?
Yeah, Fantasia is a good chance to play this week, which would be great. If I know some people might think he should come through the VFL, but I think they're going to put him straight back in if he's
Orazio.
fine. Obviously, McKenna comes straight into the side.
Yep,
and that's an easy one. Tyson Happel, little birdie told me that his foot's still a little bit sore, so that was on the weekend. So we'll see what happens. As the week goes on. He's been in a moon boot for a while. If he can get his foot right by Wednesday or Thursday, he'll probably play. But I wouldn't count my chickens on it. If that's actually a saying.
I think it is. Yeah. No, so that'll be a really interesting game. Like we play Marvel well, Port don't, and they're a bit fragile at the moment. So it's another opportunity, Bombers, to go 7 in a row now.
6 in a row, but 8 of the last 9 kind of thing.
And that'll be 7 in a row if we win Port.
So no,
if we beat
sorry, it will be 6 in a row. But 8 of the last 9.
Roger that.
That makes sense.
Okay, roger that. 6 in a row, Bomber fans. That does not happen very often at all. If you can remember the last time that happened, I think it was the Baby Bombers in 2000, unless I missed my guess. So yeah, absolutely get out. Absolutely get out on the weekend and get there. Like I said, Scotty and I will be there with the loudest voices on. I guess we'll probably wrap up the podcast there, Scotty.
Yeah, look, it was one of those games where you can only talk so much. It was not a pretty game. Look, we're just thrilled we're winning. And
yeah, absolutely.
Excited that we're almost 2.5 games clear in the 8. So it's a really good position to be with 4 games to go. Let's get another win.
We're hunting down Collingwood, baby. We're hunting down Collingwood.
I mean, to be on, doesn't it feel weird to be on the same amount of wins as them all of a sudden?
After they've won a heap of games, they're in the 4, or they've been
you just
performing
naturally
well.
think they're in the 4, but they're not. They're just on percentage over us. So
yep, absolutely.
But thanks everyone. Really looking forward to this game Saturday. You can catch us on the socials. You can go Lunchtime. The Lunch Catch Up on Twitter.
The Lunch Catch Up on Twitter. We couldn't get the Lunchtime Catch Up on Twitter, so it's the Lunch Catch Up on Twitter. You can get us at the Lunchtime Catch Up Podcast Facebook page. You can get us at the Lunchtime Catch Up Podcast Instagram page. I believe it's exactly the same for the Twitter as well. Where can they find you, Scotty?
Scooter McNeese on go to Twitter. You can always engage with me.
Yep.
Look, as far as the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, it's almost like every platform available.
Everywhere.
Check us out. We've even got a YouTube channel now where we're uploading the podcast. So you can, if you like things where you can have text, if you're hard of hearing, and you like the text version that can come up on YouTube, you can also hear our show there. So
that's pretty cool.
We actually had a guy request to me not long ago that could I possibly put on YouTube because he needed the text version just with his hearing. So really happy to support that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll put the shows on YouTube as best as we can.
Yep. Another quick thank you to Jason McGowan and the team down at the Mantra Tullamarine. Like I said, we're hugely thankful to those guys for supporting the podcast. We'll be giving away those incredible prizes that they've given us down there. We'll be giving those away very soon. But remember, if you want to book yourself a room down there, that you can do it right now. The promo code is Lunchtime Catch-Up. One word. You get a 10% discount. So see if you can... next time you're looking for a room, check out the guys at the Mantra Hotel. That sounds really bad. It does sound. Next time you're looking for a room, check out that. No. Thank you very much again to Jason and the team down at the Mantra Tullamarine. So I think that wraps it up for us, Scotty.
Yeah. Go Bombers. For the Patreons, we'll have the team changes. Thursday?
Thursday. Maybe a couple of little extras now and then. But thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Catch you guys. Go Bombers.